This page is the cover of a Saturn Fan Magazine from early 1996, prominently featuring the game titles Saturn Fan across the top. The artwork includes characters from Darkstalkers, known as Vampire Hunter in Japan, like Dmitry Maximov, and characters that appear to be from Guardian Heroes. A large headline promises 22 great exclusive scoops. The cover highlights several key games featured inside. On the left side, major articles cover Darkstalkers, World Dai Senryaku Advanced File, Legend of Galactic Heroes, and World Heroes Perfect, among others like Virtua Fighter 2 and Sega Rally Championship. On the right, games like Neon Genesis Evangelion, Tenchi wo Kurao 2, 3x3 Eyes, and Panzer Dragoon Saga are listed. Towards the bottom, the cover calls out Guardian Heroes and Street Fighter Alpha Zero, Street Fighter Zero, with a promise of 5 great strategies, guides. This suggests in-depth coverage for these popular titles. The overall impression is a magazine packed with news and guides for a wide range of Saturn games, available or coming soon in that period. The issue is dated February 2nd, 1996. This page is packed with 3 heavy-hitting Sega Saturn titles that define the console's early library. Dominating the center is a striking graphic that translates to something like blow your mind, perfectly capturing the impact these games had. On the left, you see Sega Rally Championship, featuring a classic rally car in action. The text emphasizes the thrill of driving realistic rally cars across different environments like deserts and forests, capturing the intensity and speed of the sport. It highlights the immersive experience it brought to the Saturn. The right side is split between 2 arcade giants. Up top is Virtua Fighter 2, showcasing the detailed character models like Akira Yuki. The text positions it as a deep fighting game about instinct, skill, and wisdom, mentioning the tournament setting and new features like CPU learning mode, promising a challenging and competitive experience. Though Virtua Fighter 2 is Virtua Cop, featuring the protagonists Michael Hardy and Janet Marshall ready for action. This section focuses on the game's relentless light gun action against waves of villains, praising the impressive full polygon graphics that brought the arcade experience home, and mentioning support for multiple players. A prominent image of the Sega Saturn console itself with its controller is also displayed, reinforcing these titles as essential for any Saturn owner. Prices are listed for each game. This page features 2 distinct Sega Saturn titles set to arrive in April 1996, highlighted by the dramatic statement, 2 battles begin. On the left is Cyberdoll, a dark sci-fi RPG. The imagery showcases a menacing, mechanical figure, setting a bleak tone. The game is described as unfolding in Zero City, a future metropolis transformed into a hellish nightmare by a catastrophe and a rampant virus, plunging it into endless dark days. This sounds like a grim, atmospheric adventure. Dominating the right side is Sorcerer Hunters, based on the popular anime and manga series, featuring beloved characters like Charlotte, Gateau, Tira, and the prominent Marron Glacé. The game promises to bring their adventures to life on the Saturn. Key selling points include original transformation scenes created specifically for the game, the return of the anime's stellar voice cast, and an original story that adds to the series' charm. The description even mentions a slightly erotic element, fitting the show's style. Both titles represent significant additions to the Sega Saturn's library, offering contrasting experiences, a dark, futuristic RPG, and a vibrant, character-driven anime adaptation. This page features 2 distinct Sega Saturn offerings. On the left, the Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series continues, with Volume 7 Shundi and Volume 8 Lion Rafale, released on January 26th. These discs likely contain character renders and possibly other multimedia content related to Virtua Fighter. Earlier volumes featuring characters like Sarah, Jackie, Akira, Pai, Wolf, and Lao are also shown as available, highlighting the ongoing nature of this character-focused collection. There's even a promotional offer to obtain a Dural portrait by collecting application tickets. The right side is dedicated to the upcoming J.League Pro Soccer Club Wo Tsukuru game, set for release on February 23rd. This title translates to, Let's make a J.League Pro Soccer Club, indicating it's a management and simulation game rather than a direct soccer action title. The prominent text declares, which means, intellectual soccer culminates here. This reinforces that the gameplay focuses on strategic management, player development, and club building, within the Japanese J.League system. Screenshots show various aspects of the game, including match views, office/management screens, and player interactions, demonstrating the depth of the simulation. It promises an immersive experience for fans wanting to build their own J.League dynasty. This page features the Sega Saturn puzzle game, PD Ultraman Link, set to release on February 9th for 6,800 yen. It's described as a falling object puzzle game where the powerful battles of Ultraman heroes and monster armies are transformed into a fun, strategic challenge. The rules are simple, but unleashing devastating special moves requires smart play. You'll connect parts on the grid, matching shapes and colors to build up attacks. There's a new system focused on chaining combinations for explosive results. The game features comical PD characters, which stand for Polygon Dimension, a series showcasing these new polygon-rendered designs. PD Ultraman Link offers multiple ways to play: a story mode to take on the monster legions, a versus mode for challenging friends, and a training mode to hone your skills. Key characters like Ultraman and Ultraman 7 appear, with Ultraman unleashing his Specium Ray, and 7 calling upon capsule monsters as special moves. The outcome of battles hinges on your strategic, puzzle-solving prowess. This page showcases two distinct gaming experiences coming to the Sega Saturn. On the left, you'll find Battle Arena to Chinden S, Takara's 3D fighting game. It features detailed polygon characters and fast-paced combat, highlighted by multiple screenshots showing characters like e.g. Kayin, Sophia, and others battling it out. This version adds new characters and CG movie sequences to the classic Toshinden formula, allowing players to delve deeper into the fighters' backstories. On the right is Death Mask, an intriguing, authentic movie adventure game, releasing on both Sega Saturn and PlayStation. It poses a compelling mystery. What if you awoke with someone else's identity? What if that person is your arch-enemy? The artwork features the protagonist, Angel Devoid, alongside a menacing skull icon, suggesting a dark and suspenseful narrative-driven experience. Both titles represent key genres for the platform at the time, offering action-packed fighting and immersive storytelling. There's also a special campaign promoting Death Mask with various prizes. This page presents a lineup of diverse titles from Victor Entertainment for the Sega Saturn. In the top left, we see Sea Bass Fishing, an authentic fishing simulation focused on catching sea bass. It boasts realistic graphics with 3D polygons for the fish, and features different game modes, even including advice from a professional fisherman to help beginners. Screenshots show the gameplay view and a real angler. The top right features Odo Yugikitai Kachuhen, an action-packed game with vibrant anime visuals. Set in the Oedo period, it follows a quirky duo through dramatic adventures, depicted with lively character art and screenshots showing what appears to be side-scrolling action gameplay. Below on the left is Thunderhawk 2, a high-speed combat helicopter simulation known internationally as Thunderhawk 2. You pilot the formidable Thunderhawk helicopter against global terrorists. The section highlights the ability to select weapons for different missions and depicts realistic battle environments with varying terrain in screenshots. Finally, the bottom right showcases two more titles. The King of Boxing is a sports game aiming to let players become legendary boxers, featuring realistic character models. Beside it is America Udon Ultra Quiz, a quiz game based on the popular Japanese TV show, inviting players on a virtual cross-America quiz journey, symbolized by the Statue of Liberty. Both are shown with game cover art and prices. This page highlights several exciting titles. The main feature on the left is Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, an ambitious RPG for the Sega Saturn. It plunges players into a dark, urban fantasy world, rendered with polygonal 3D dungeons and atmospheric surround sound. The game focuses on negotiating with and fusing demons, offering deep strategic battles and a palpable sense of dread and excitement as players navigate its challenging environment. The striking artwork features the protagonist, a slick demon summoner, alongside screenshots showcasing the game's distinct visual style and menu systems. On the right, we see advertisements for two popular arcade scrolling shooters making their way to the Saturn. The top section promotes Gunbird, a vibrant vertical shooter known for its colorful characters and intense action. It features character artwork and in-game screenshots, touting its arcade heritage and new console features. Below it is Donpachi, another classic vertical shooter from Cave, represented by a fearsome boss illustration and screenshots showing off its dense bullet patterns and powerful weaponry. Both games are presented as bringing the arcade experience home. At the bottom, there's a small note regarding staff recruitment at Atlas, the publisher behind Devil Summoner. This page features the SF simulation RPG Quo Vadis prominently on the left, questioning, "Why must friends fight each other?" The artwork depicts the main cast, highlighting the game's dramatic premise of conflict between close allies. Screenshots show the game's battle interface and character portraits, hinting at its strategic gameplay and narrative focus. It's described as an SF simulation RPG, and the standard price is listed. On the right, there's an extensive article titled, "Professional Baseball, Professional Soccer, Professional Game Creator." This piece discusses the importance of evaluating game creators as professionals, much like athletes, suggesting compensation models tied to game sales and contributions. The article emphasizes building strong creative teams and evaluating individual and team performance. It uses Quo Vadis as an example of their work and mentions their search for new talent to join their team, seeking various roles from planners and programmers to designers and even administrative staff, outlining some basic qualifications and contact information for recruitment. This page kicks off with intense racing action, featuring the game known internationally as Drift King 96, described as drift polygon car action, with the tagline, "Run the Wangan line drifting." The feature highlights super real, exhilarating car action, and showcases screenshots of the polygonal graphics, emphasizing the racing physics and use of elements like the speedometer and map. A key feature is the split-screen two-player versus mode, perfect for competitive racing. It also mentions the inclusion of real gravure idols, adding a unique touch. On the right side, you'll find the magazine's table of contents and a comprehensive game index. The contents list various exciting features, including exclusive scoops on games like Adgark's Perfect Heroes and New Century Evangelion, in-depth previews and strategy guides for popular titles like Guardian Heroes and Street Fighter Alpha, along with regular columns covering new releases, data, ranking charts, and upcoming games. The Game Index provides a vast list of Sega Saturn titles covered within the issue. This page delivers an exclusive scoop. ADK, a major third-party developer from the Neo Geo scene, is entering the Sega Saturn lineup. The big news is that their first title will be none other than World Heroes Perfect. This is the definitive version of their popular fighting game series, known for its unique characters and over-the-top, often comedic, special moves. The magazine highlights the flashy ultimate techniques and calls it a comedy fighting game. ADK comments that they are aiming for a perfect port of the arcade experience and are also considering adding original elements specifically for the Saturn release. Screenshots showcase the vibrant graphics and character designs. Get ready for some wild matchups on the Saturn. More details are promised on the following page. This page continues the deep dive into World Heroes Perfect coming to the Sega Saturn, elaborating on the game's core fighting systems. It breaks down key mechanics like the hero gauge, which powers up special moves and leads to amplified versions when full. It also details the extra attack system, unique moves performed by pressing multiple attack buttons simultaneously, offering varying effects for each fighter, including parries or character-specific actions. Furthermore, the page highlights the powerful ultimate techniques, accessible when a character's health drops below half, adding a comeback factor to matches. Excitingly, it confirms that the home versions allow players to control the bosses, Zeus and Neo Dio, as well as the hidden character Goku, suggesting this will likely carry over to the Saturn release. The article also speculates on potential original features for the Saturn port, pondering if the team battle mode from World Heroes Jet will return, or if new comedy elements aligning with the series' quirky nature will be added. Finally, the page showcases the full roster of fighters, presenting the 16 historical and mythical warriors who gather for the tournament, alongside the powerful special characters. This page reveals full details about a highly anticipated 3D shooting game from GameArts, known for their impressive 3D work since the early days of polygon graphics. The game is officially titled Gungriphon, the Eurasian Conflict, set on the expansive Eurasian continent, the largest battlefield on Earth. Players step into the role of a member of an international external force based in Japan, piloting the latest localized combat vehicle known as the HIMAX. The article highlights the game's intricate setting and realistic battlefield visuals. Screenshots showcase varied mission locations, from snowy landscapes and night urban areas to deserts, emphasizing the diversity of combat environments. It boasts multiple movement options for the HIMAX, allowing players to navigate the intense war zone effectively. The detailed 3D polygon graphics bring the latest weaponry and the chows of modern warfare to life, offering a visceral experience. A separate section delves into the game's backstory, detailing the global situation in the early 21st century. It describes a world plagued by persistent conflicts, rooted in ideological and ethnic tensions following the Cold War, exacerbated by resource scarcity and environmental degradation. This geopolitical context provides a deep and serious foundation for the game's military action, presenting a war in the near future driven by realistic global issues like food shortages and regional power struggles. The game aims to provide a compelling simulation of this future conflict through strategic, localized battles. This page serves as an operational manual for the HIMAX unit in Gungrafon, the Eurasian conflict, detailing essential gameplay mechanics. It breaks down the cockpit display, explaining crucial indicators like the targeting reticle, weapon status, target distance, altitude, radar, and warning lights. The guide then covers movement and attack methods, including basic forward/backward movement, dashing, strafing, switching weapons, using night vision, and firing your arsenal. A key maneuver highlighted is the jump, a vital tactical option for aerial attacks against vulnerable enemy units. The ability to independently rotate the upper body is also explained, adding depth to combat. Finally, the page introduces some of the enemy AWGS, armored walk gun systems, players will encounter, showcasing diverse designs like the Elephant, Type 13, M16, BMX, and Panther from various nations, underscoring the global scale of the conflict introduced on the previous page. Understanding these mechanics is critical for survival on the battlefield. This page dives deeper into the global conflict of Gungrafon, the Eurasian conflict, featuring a developer interview and previews of key missions. Game Arts director Takeshi Miyagi shares insights into the game's creation, highlighting the detailed mecha models built from around 450 polygons, the smooth 3D graphics, rich sound design, and carefully tuned controls. He emphasizes his team's dedication to detail and expresses confidence in the final product. The page then showcases 4 distinct missions players will undertake as part of the Japanese Expeditionary Force. Mission 1, Dandelion Seed, is a drop operation in Kharkov, supporting Ukrainian forces. Mission 2, Dark Servant, takes place in the urban environment of Kyiv under night combat conditions. Mission 3, Fox Hunt, challenges players to raid the Siberian Railway to cut off enemy supplies. Finally, Mission 4, Bloodstorm, involves a fierce mobile battle in Mongolia. Screenshots illustrate the varied terrain and combat scenarios, from desert plains to snowy railways and nighttime cityscapes. A crucial gameplay tip reminds players not to forget tactical resupply from helicopters, which is vital for survival on the battlefield. This page unleashes the excitement for the Sega Saturn port of Vampire Hunter, known internationally as Darkstalker's Revenge. The magazine declares the porting of the remaining 8 characters is now complete, urging readers to feast their eyes on the visuals. The official release date is confirmed as February 23rd, with the porting work progressing smoothly. Numerous screenshots pepper the page, showcasing intense battles and special moves from characters like Sasquatch, Dimitri, Lelai, Victor, and more, demonstrating the faithful recreation of the arcade's vibrant graphics. The text highlights the incredible detail in the character patterns and the fluid, abundant animations. It emphasizes that the development team has poured significant effort into perfecting this port to capture the essence of the arcade experience, including the action, background music, and sound effects, ensuring a seamless transition. With all the monsters now complete, the article expresses anticipation for the game's imminent release. This page continues the deep dive into the exciting roster of Darkstalker's Revenge for the Sega Saturn, following up on the previous page's announcement of the completed porting of the remaining characters. Here, the magazine showcases a selection of the game's unique fighters, providing detailed illustrations, character backgrounds, and dynamic screenshots highlighting their signature moves. Featured fighters include the half-vampire Donovan Bane, the mighty Sasquatch, the reanimated scientist Victor von Gerdenheim, the fiery being Pyron, the ancient robot Huitzil, referred to as Phobos here, the spectral samurai Bishamon, the resurrected pharaoh Anakaris, and the cheerful catgirl Felicia. The small inset box confirms these are some of the final characters revealed, showing portraits of Sasquatch and John Talbane, Gallon. The screenshots effectively capture the distinct visual style and over-the-top special attacks, demonstrating the variety and personality of the monster cast promised for the upcoming Saturn release. This page unveils an exciting new project, a game based on the hugely popular anime and manga series, Neon Genesis Evangelion, coming to the Sega Saturn. This isn't just a simple port, it's an adventure game featuring an entirely original story, branching off into over 50 different routes, promising a deep and unique experience that goes beyond the anime narrative. The development team includes staff from the original TV series, ensuring the game maintains the show's distinct atmosphere and visual style, even featuring new animation created specifically for this title. The page showcases key characters like Shinji Ikari, Rei Ayanami, and Asuka Langley Soryu, along with the iconic Evangelion Unit 01. Screenshots hint at the game's adventure gameplay and dramatic moments. This project was highly anticipated, especially given the series' immense popularity at the time, offering fans a fresh way to engage with the Evangelion world. Sega was clearly going all peelin' to deliver a faithful and expansive adaptation. This page is a special feature highlighting highly anticipated upcoming games for the Sega Saturn, captured by the enthusiastic headline proclaiming the information is super hot, despite the cold weather. It serves as an introduction to a multi-page spread, covering several exciting new titles. Visually, the page combines a collage of screenshots on the left, featuring the stunning 3D visuals of Panzer Dragoon Saga, the chaotic close-quarters combat of Fighting Vipers, and a fighting game screenshot, possibly from Dark Savior's unique battle system. Main focus, however, is on 3x3 Eyes, Kyusei Kushu S, based on the popular manga and anime. This section includes large, vibrant character artwork and details an exclusive interview with the developer. A key highlight is the adoption of Sega's new Toru motion video playback technology for the opening animation, promising significant improvements in quality, reaching levels comparable to anime video, even mentioning parity with Virtua Fighter 2's opening. Screenshots from this improved opening are also showcased. The page lists several other major titles covered in this feature, including Dark Savior, Lunar, The Silver Star Story, Dragon Force, and Cyber Troopers Virtualon, signaling a packed lineup of diverse genres for Saturn owners to look forward to. The tone is clearly one of excitement and anticipation for the upcoming releases. The Sega Saturn version of 3x3 Eyes, Kyusei Kushu S, offers enhancements over the PlayStation release, including improved readability and smoother dialogue synchronization, addressing user feedback. The game adopts a branching narrative, presenting two distinct story paths, the Sichuan and Taiwan chapters, each offering unique events and endings. Players navigate the adventure using a simple command system common to the genre. Battles seamlessly integrate into the gameplay. The Saturn version also includes an extra CD-ROM packed with bonus content, such as interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and character information. The game features a central cast of characters including Yakumo Fuji, Pai, and supporting characters such as Steve Ryu, Narpalba, Li Lingling, and Panaris. The Sichuan and Taiwan chapters also introduce their respective characters, teasing the mysteries and branching narratives players will experience. This page features a detailed look at the development of Panzer Dragoon 2, highlighting that development is proceeding splendidly. The main focus is an in-depth interview with the producer, Yukio Futatsugi, and design chief, Takashi Sakai, who discuss the game's world, the philosophy behind making the dragon feel realistic, and the overall design goals. The page also includes a play report based on a store demo version, presented by the game's mascot character, Lagi-kun. The report praises several aspects of the game, including the detailed and lively animations of the dragon, particularly its tail movement. It also highlights the dynamic and freely controllable camera system, noting the impressive viewpoints and transitions. Finally, the reviewer expresses admiration for the fine detail in the graphics, from the environments and structures to the mechanical designs, attributing it to the developer's craftsmanship. Multiple screenshots accompany the report, showcasing the game's visual fidelity and dynamic action. This page continues the coverage of Panzer Dragoon Saga, shifting focus from the desolate wasteland shown previously to a vibrant forest environment. The feature highlights the intense escape battle taking place in the woods as the protagonist and his dragon flee the relentless empire. Screenshots showcase the dynamic combat in the dense forest, including locking onto targets and unleashing powerful attacks. A major reveal is a massive new enemy, classified surprisingly as only a mid-boss, the Old Age assault ship. This gigantic creature is shown dominating the sky above the forest, accompanied by smaller escort enemies. The text emphasizes its immense size and formidable appearance, suggesting a challenging encounter despite not being a final boss. Further details are provided on the Empire's latest ground forces, introducing new mechanical enemies like the fast-hovering Kendapa and the multi-limbed Ashura. Screenshots demonstrate their attacks and movement, indicating they will pose a significant threat even as standard foes. Finally, the page offers a brief look at a mysterious underground waterway level, hinting at more varied environments beyond the forest. Images show the intricate details of this area and tease branching paths, leaving players wondering what secrets and challenges await deeper within the game. This page previews the Sega Mega Drive action RPG, Beyond Oasis, known as Story of Thor in Japan. The magazine highlights the game's detailed graphics and smooth animation, setting it in a vibrant fantasy world. It details the protagonist, Leon, and his diverse actions like dashing and jumping, emphasizing the depth of the combat system. The map design is showcased, featuring elevation differences, traps, and large boss enemies encountered throughout the journey. The page also introduces key characters, including the Wise Master, or Caridin, and the mysterious Myra. A central focus is placed on the 6 elemental spirits, or Jinn, that Leon must awaken. Highlight, Shade, Ifrit, Ditto, Gust, and Flora. Each Jinn is depicted, and their unique abilities are briefly described, vital for Leon's quest to defeat the evil Agido. The content conveys anticipation for this graphically impressive and action-packed adventure. This page covers the Mega Drive action RPG Beyond Oasis, showcasing its graphics, gameplay, characters, and elemental spirits. This page covers the Sega Saturn fighting game adaptation of the popular manga and anime series, Ninku. The magazine highlights the game's flashy graphics and somewhat silly fighting action, bringing the world of Ninku to life. It's noted that the game features characters from both the manga and the original anime stories. A major point of interest is the inclusion of gag moves and super gag moves, unique, often humorous special techniques specific to each fighter, alongside standard special and super special moves. These moves are tied to a special gauge that fills as you fight, allowing for impressive, over-the-top attacks. The game is designed to be accessible, with simple button commands for pulling off powerful moves, making it enjoyable even for those new to fighting games. Characters like Fusuke, Ayoba, Kochin, Kenya, Toji, AKI, Matwai, and Ajirata are featured, with screenshots showcasing their signature moves. The magazine seems particularly enthusiastic about the visual spectacle and the personality that the unique gag moves bring to the combat. The focus is clearly on delivering a fun and visually engaging fighting experience for fans of the series. This page dives into the world of Fighting Vipers, highlighting its continued excitement and revealing some hot info on the Saturn version and a hidden character. The big news is the appearance of the 9th Man, a new rival in Armstone City known as Mahler. With his flashy gold costume, his true identity is teased, hinting at a possible connection to one of the existing fighters. Playing as him requires fulfilling certain conditions, adding an extra layer of challenge for dedicated players. The page then shifts focus to mastering Fighting Viper's unique special moves, which are distinct from Virtua Fighter. These include character-specific techniques like wall dives and ground pounds, showcasing the game's emphasis on interacting with the environment. Various characters such as Bon, Raxel, Tokyo, Picky, Honey, Grace, Jane, and Sandman have some of their signature moves detailed with commands and screenshots. Finally, there's a candid interview with the arcade development chief, Hiroshi Kataoka, discussing the progress of the Saturn port. He touches on the technical aspects, like rendering the walls and ensuring the game includes core Fighting Vipers elements like the armor system and short combos, noting that the characters in Vipers actually have more polygons than those in Virtua Fighter 2. He expresses hope that players will appreciate the game's unique essence in the home version. This page delves into Climax's anticipated 3D action RPG, Dark Savior, focusing on the significant evolution of its game system since a previous preview. The main highlight is the completely revamped camera movement, which is now exceptionally versatile. The camera system, previously described as having free movement and an investigate mode, has been enhanced to provide a greater sense of depth and allow players to freely move the viewpoint around the main character, Gessarion. This allows for checking areas previously hidden and adds to the game's 3D feel. Unlike the prior fixed increment camera, the new system enables smooth, wide-ranging rotation and vertical movement, making it much easier to survey the environment peek around corners, check ledges, and assess distances for platforming actions like jumping. Beyond the camera, the game's system has seen other refinements, including more realistic changes in character movement speed, with acceleration added to walking and a consistent speed for dashing. The zoom-out feature, previously limited, can now be used in almost any location, and the zoom range is adjustable, further aiding exploration. The article emphasizes that these detailed changes are steadily improving the game's overall feel and playability, particularly making actions like carefully checking paths and judging jumps more intuitive and safe. This page gives us an in-depth look at the anticipated RPG, Lunar, the Silver Star. It features an interview with director Tadayoshi Tsukaguchi and composer Noriyuki Iwadare, who discuss the game's musical direction and the casting process for the Saturn version, including potential changes for the character Luna. The article highlights how music is being used to enhance the game's atmosphere and narrative. Screenshots demonstrate the updated graphics for battle sequences and field exploration, showcasing a more dynamic visual style. A major focus is also placed on concept art for large mechanical structures, such as a mobile iron fortress and impressive vehicles, hinting at their significant role in the game's story and world design, with intriguing mentions of a dragon residing within these mechanical creations. This page introduces G-Bockers, a high-speed 3D action combat game, notably the first on the Sega Saturn to support competitive play via the communication cable. Set in a chaotic future, the game pits customizable robots known as G-Bockers against rogue strikers. Combat involves command inputs for a variety of dynamic attacks, allowing for complex strategies in battle. The game offers two distinct modes: a story mode following a narrative thread, and a versus mode, which supports split-screen competitive multiplayer, doubling the fun especially when connecting two consoles with the link cable. Players can choose from 8 unique playable characters, each possessing a distinct personality, weapon set, and fighting style, such as Val, the balanced leader, Fisher, who excels at ranged attacks, or Donchin, who uses ground-shaking abilities. The variety in characters and combat options promises deep strategic gameplay. Screenshots showcase the character selection screen, split screen versus mode, and the intense 3D battles. The magazine seems excited about the competitive aspect and the diverse roster. The next page features 2 exciting Sega Saturn titles. On the left is Dragon Force, highlighting the impressive special moves of its numerous warlords. The magazine details how these flashy techniques, like Goltark's Holy Blast or Wayne's Sword Slash, add strategic depth and visual spectacle to the large-scale battles involving hundreds of units. It also previews moves from other commanders, such as Mikazuki, Junon, Tillis, and Reinhardt, emphasizing the unique abilities each character brings to leading their army to victory. The right side announces the highly anticipated port of the arcade hit, Cyber Troopers Virtualon, to the Saturn. Described as a game sure to evoke emotion in fans of robot anime, this section serves as a basic guide to controlling the powerful Virtualoids. It covers essential maneuvers like mastering weapons, using turns and dashes for evasive high-speed movement, utilizing jumps for aerial combat, and employing guards to mitigate damage, illustrating these actions with screenshots and mentioning specific unit examples like Temujin and Radan. The preview expresses excitement about how faithfully the Saturn version will recreate the arcade game's speed and intensity. This page features a look at Return to Zork, an interactive adventure game making its way to both Sega Saturn and PlayStation. The preview highlights the game's premise, starting with a mysterious letter, and showcases some of the character visuals with expressive facial close-ups, indicating the interactive nature of the experience. It emphasizes the game's rich storytelling and immersive world. The right side of the page presents a bonus item from the magazine, a special CG postcard featuring a dynamic illustration of Cage and Sarah from Virtua Fighter 2, drawn by the renowned artist Katsuya Terada. It's noted as an exclusive bonus from the February 22nd issue, alongside another postcard showcasing the Shining series. These postcards serve as appealing collector's items for fans of Sega's fighting and RPG franchises. This page dives deep into the highly anticipated Sega Saturn title, Guardian Heroes. The right side features a massive illustration showcasing the game's dynamic cast and highlights a comprehensive strategy guide. It promises analysis of the game's system and characters, alongside tips for winning the fierce battles in both story mode and the frantic versus mode, particularly detailing character-specific abilities and special moves as the release draws near. The left side of the page shows the back of a postcard template, complete with address lines and a postage box. Below that is a visual feature titled The Shining Museum, displaying scenes and characters from the popular Shining series. likely tied to a special bonus or article about the franchise. Text at the bottom of the postcard area reinforces the bonus items mentioned on the previous page, specifically referencing the Virtua Fighter 2 and Shining Series CG postcards included with that issue. This page delves into the core mechanics of Guardian Heroes, offering a system analysis guide to help players master the game. It explains how to get stronger through combat, emphasizing that hitting enemies is crucial for both gaining experience points and recovering valuable MP needed for magic. Leveling up enhances character parameters and magic abilities, making attacks more visually impressive and increasing their range. The guide highlights that simple button mashing isn't enough to win. Players must master special techniques across 3 key systems: movement/evasion, attack, and recovery. The movement/evasion section covers tactical moves like dashing, backstepping, double jumps, and attack evasion, essential for positioning and avoiding damage. The attack system details various offensive options, such as air-to-ground attacks, long-range attacks, and invincible attacks, expanding the player's combat options. The recovery system explains how to quickly recover from negative status effects, like being knocked down or frozen. In story mode, players gain a helpful ally, the undead hero, and the guide outlines the 5 different commands that can be issued to direct their actions, from aggressive attacks to defensive guarding or waiting. Finally, the page explains the game's unique 3-line battle system, demonstrating how moving between the front, middle, and back lines is vital for maneuvering, controlling the battlefield, and recovering posture, adding a significant layer of strategy beyond just horizontal movement. Mastering these systems is presented as the key to victory. This page shifts focus to a detailed character analysis for Guardian Heroes, crucial for both story mode progression and mastering versus battles. It highlights that clearing story mode unlocks a massive roster of 45 characters for versus play, which includes robust features like adjustable parameters and scorekeeping. The page breaks down key characters, starting with Horn Samuel, a powerful swordsman specializing in dynamic rush attacks and powerful finishers. Genjiro is covered next, noted for his effective, screen-clearing attacks and evasive maneuvers, with magic playing a significant role. Nicole Neal excels at rapid, continuous attacks, with her Angry Z being a core offensive tool despite consuming HP. Randy M. Green balances magic and physical combat, utilizing continuous attacks and a defensive spinning shield. The duo Ed and Mid are analyzed, with Ed's powerful Emax and Mid's unique movements and vulnerability to fire highlighted. Finally, Selena Corsair is presented as a balanced fighter with a wide range of techniques, including potent magic, like the Valkyrie Javelin. Each character section provides strategic notes, screenshots showcasing their moves, and their command lists, detailing the button inputs for their special techniques and magic, with a note indicating commands are shown for characters facing right. This page continues the Guardian Heroes character breakdown, essential for understanding the game's diverse roster beyond the initial heroes. First up is the Undead Hero, a purely offensive character with devastating screen-clearing attacks, like the Deadly Flame and Genocide Crash, but completely lacks defense. Next we have Macho Goro, who boasts a wide array of techniques focused on close-quarters combat and unexpected moves, making him versatile but may be tricky to master initially. Gogatsu is highlighted for their unique and unpredictable movements and attacks, requiring careful handling. Then comes Canon G. Gray, a powerful dark magic user who excels at ranged combat with devastating spells like the Dark Magic, Judgment of the Sky, and the screen-wide Dark Magic, Thunderstorm, capable of recovering MP easily. Reinhard Barger showcases sharp swordplay with key moves like the Rushing Zero Drive and Projectile Shockwave. The analysis moves to page Silver, G, Golden, and Rubber, known for their invincible rush attacks and high defense, utilizing techniques like the Teleport Punch system and Counterknife system. Finally, the page covers the powerful complete body G Silver, who floats and unleashes intense projectile and laser attacks like the Operation Meteor system, making them a formidable opponent with automatic attacks when the player is inactive. Each character section includes strategic notes, action screenshots, and their specific command lists for special and magic attacks. The next page continues the deep dive into the diverse roster of Guardian Heroes, moving beyond the core heroes and their direct counterparts. First, we see characters like the Undead Hero, highlighted for their lack of special attacks but having projectile capabilities, focusing on basic line movements. The Kingdom Sorcerer, identified as Goldia, is discussed as having magic but low health, suggesting a glass cannon approach. The Kingdom Knight, Valgar, offers long reach and physical special moves. A unique group is presented as tackle-only characters, including the Kingdom Soldier, Zombie, Skeleton, and Resistance Fighter, all sharing a basic tackle move. Then there are the Citizen-esque characters, like the Goblin and various citizens, noted for their weak attacks and primarily serving as fodder in story mode, though the Goblin is the strongest of this low-tier group. Further down, other character types are introduced, such as a different Kingdom Sorcerer variant who uses recovery magic and barriers, and the formidable Ancient Golem, a floating unit with powerful projectile and laser attacks. Finally, the page highlights characters who essentially mirror the abilities of the main heroes and some of the previously discussed powerful enemies, such as Deadeye Gash and Hero King Han who use Han's moves, Katie Sarg who uses Serena's moves, the one-armed undead warrior mirroring the undead hero, and Sanbo Shinakoma with Macho Goro's techniques. Each section includes strategic advice and supporting screenshots. This page dives into the story mode of Guardian Heroes, providing a strategy guide for the game's initial stages and illustrating the branching paths the narrative can take. A chart shows how players progress through stages 01 to 12, highlighting different routes including a shortest course. Stage 01, Awakening, covers the introduction of the main heroes and the acquisition of the Soul Sword, detailing the initial encounters in the inn and town areas, with tips on handling various kingdom soldiers. Stage 02, Overture to Hope, focuses on the graveyard and the point where the undead hero joins the party. This stage features branching paths based on choices, and the guide provides strategy for protecting the undead hero from enemies like skeletons, cyclops, and kingdom sorcerers. Stage 03, Monster of the Green Forest, is characterized by intense, consecutive boss fights. The guide walks players through combat against standard forest creatures like goblins and giant bees, before tackling the large mid-boss and the formidable Red Knight commander, Katie Sarg, offering tactical advice for these challenging encounters. The guide includes enemy lists and screenshots for each section. This page continues the strategic breakdown of Guardian Heroes story mode, moving past the early stages into the mid-game challenges. Stage 04, titled Magic Weapon, sees strong enemies appear to guard a cannon. The strategy focuses on dealing with the potent ancient magic weapons, highlighting that magic attacks are effective against them. Players will also face the undead, who appears as a boss, requiring precise attacks and potentially utilizing the destructive power of the magic weapons against other foes. Stage 05, Powerless Rebellion, has players guiding the resistance towards a village. The guide suggests ignoring most enemies on the plains to reach the village quickly. Inside the village, you'll face the ancient magic weapon again, this time supported by Zul as a boss. The key is to focus fire on the magic weapon before dealing with Zul, who uses agile movements and projectiles. Stage 06, Kingdom's Claw, is noted as being relatively easier in terms of enemy level and quantity. The boss characters Goldart and Zul appear. The strategy advises defeating Goldart's group first, as they stop their attack once he's down, before turning attention to Zul, who acts as a recurring boss with his tricky movement patterns. Finally, Stage 07, Lightning Country, emphasizes minimizing damage during a battle against Valgar. The strategy for this stage involves fighting Valgar and another ancient magic weapon, stressing the importance of distance and using magic against the weapon, while employing continuous attacks and dodges against Valgar himself. Stages 8 to 11 of Guardian Heroes story mode are covered. Stage 8, Land of Sorrow, culminates the first half, featuring cannon battles, kingdom soldiers, skeletons, and bosses Undead and Valgar. Utilize magic against the undead, and time attacks carefully against Valgar. Stage 9, The Macho Man and His Merry Friends, is a brief wasteland stage with Goru, Sanbo, and Valgar as bosses, alongside kingdom soldiers and Hitodama. Prioritize Hitodama to prevent corpse possession. Stage 10, Town of Betrayal, is challenging, featuring Valgar, Cyclops, Kingdom Knights, and soldiers. Use positioning and continuous attacks to minimize damage. Stage 11, Apostle of Confusion, introduces Deadeye Gash. Focus on bosses, using similar tactics as Valgar's fight, line movement, and consistent attacks. This page delves deeper into the action-packed world of Guardian Heroes, covering key points beyond the initial stages. First up is Stage 12, Frontal Breakthrough. This city level is pure chows. While there's no main boss, you're absolutely swamped by enemies, including waves of kingdom soldiers and magic users. Surviving requires smart positioning and managing the sheer volume of attackers. It's a real test of your crowd control skills. Next, it covers a mid-game event, the battle against Canon, the Dark Mage. This fight is serious business, but you're not alone. The Golden Hero and Selena join your party. Cannon hits hard with magic. And the text even suggests controversial tactics, like temporarily stunning the Golden Hero to focus on Cannon. Although you need to be wary of Cannon's continuous ranged attacks. Finally, the page hints at a cool secret. An intrusion stage. By meeting certain conditions, you can access this special arena battle. It's a chance to earn experience points and test your might against tough opponents. But be warned, losing means a game over. The page also includes sections on reader feedback and game sales rankings, which are less critical to the game itself. This postcard from a magazine serves as a direct feedback tool for readers. Designed like a Japanese postcard requiring 80 yen postage, it solicits opinions and demographic information. Readers could leave general feedback, participate in a survey ranking games, and provide input on specific sections like Ranking Street or Conehead Club. A prominent feature is a Saturn Fan 2/12 section, which includes a ranking of various games, offering insight into popular titles like Theme Park, Godzilla, Kaiju Daikessen, Virtua Racing, Saturn, and Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner. The postcard collects data on reader age, gender, and preferences for giveaways, emphasizing the magazine's interactive relationship with its audience and providing data for future content. This page presents the Ranking Street section for the Sega Saturn, showcasing game performance based on reader feedback. The main feature is a large table listing various Saturn titles, their publishers, release information, and most importantly, their ranking based on player votes. The table highlights the top performers, with Virtua Fighter 2 proudly taking the #1 spot. Below the main ranking, there's a dedicated section titled Sweet Whisper, offering detailed commentary and praise for the top-ranked Virtua Fighter 2, delving into why it achieved such high acclaim from players. The page also includes several smaller sections featuring what appear to be reader comments or mini-reviews on various games, offering diverse opinions on titles like Virtua Cop, X-Men, and others from the ranking list. Finally, a section titled Spicy Whispers provides a space for more critical feedback or general gripes, rounding out the reader input. Overall, the sentiment towards the games featured on this page seems quite positive, with an 83% favorable rating. This page continues the Ranking Street rankings based on player votes, featuring games that followed Virtua Fighter 2. Virtua Cop lands at #2 when bundled with the Virtua Gun, with players absolutely loving the arcade experience and the immersion the light gun provides, noting the impressive visuals and exciting moments, despite some finding the patterns a bit simple. Unsurprisingly, the software-only version of Virtua Cop ranks lower at #3, with comments reflecting that while still fun, it's just not the same without the gun. Rounding out the top 4 is X-Men, the fighting game. Player feedback focuses on the large roster of characters and the adaptation of the arcade game, with opinions varying on how well the fighting mechanics translated to the Saturn pad compared to other fighters on the system. Overall, both Virtua Cop variants received high marks for player satisfaction, especially the gun-set version. This page continues the countdown of the top-ranked games as voted by players. Landing at #5 is Puyo Puyo 2, a puzzle game that defied expectations by ranking so highly among action and fighting titles. Players rave about its simple-to-learn, difficult-to-master gameplay, praising its highly addictive nature and the intense head-to-head competition. The charming characters and fast pace are also big draws, making it a perfect game for quick matches or lengthy sessions, highlighting its broad appeal. Coming in at #6 is Super Real Mahjong Graffiti. While essentially a mahjong game, the player feedback clearly emphasizes the appeal of its visuals, which are praised for their quality and the attractive character designs. Fans appreciate that it compiles graphics and scenes from earlier entries in the series, making it a visual treat and appealing to longtime fans of the franchise as much for its presentation as for its mahjong gameplay. The page also briefly teases the #1 spot, revealing it goes to another entry in the Puyo Puyo series, specifically Karaguchi Puyo Puyo, promising more details on the next page. This page continues the player-voted game ranking, highlighting entries from 7th to 9th place. Coming in at #7 is Battle Arena Toshinden. Players discuss its transition to the Saturn, noting the polished graphics and the unique slow motion and camera work. While the visual effects are praised, some feel they are repetitive, and the overall impact is lessened. The gameplay is described as somewhat simplified compared to other fighting games, particularly regarding special moves, but it's seen as an accessible entry for newcomers. Ranked 8th is Nomo Hideo World Series Baseball. This baseball simulation gets positive feedback for its realistic player animations and fluid field movement, making the gameplay feel natural and engaging. Players appreciate the effort put into recreating the baseball experience, although some minor graphical issues and lack of polish in certain areas are noted. Finally, at number 9 is Tudge King the Spirits, a driving game focused on mountain pass racing. Players enjoy the handling and sense of speed, particularly the drift mechanics. The game is praised for its overall atmosphere and addictive racing loops, though some found the controls could be tricky to master and the visuals, while decent, weren't top tier for the time. This page continues the player-voted rankings, featuring games from 10th to 13th place. Coming in at number 10 is NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Players praised its exciting gameplay and character selection, highlighting the enjoyable dunk animations and overall arcade feel. However, some felt the graphics were a bit lacking compared to other titles, and mentioned issues with character appearance and detail. Ranked 11th is Character Arrange Universal Warriors. This game was noted for its engaging fighting mechanics and impressive visual effects, particularly the flashy special moves and stage backgrounds. The fast-paced combat and overall sense of exhilaration were positives, but criticisms included potential balance issues and a learning curve for mastering the complex systems and character abilities. At number 12 is Dragon Ball Z Shin Butoden. Fans enjoyed the large character roster and faithful recreation of the Dragon Ball Z universe, including special moves and voice acting. The wide-open battlefields and dynamic camera work were appreciated. On the downside, some found the graphics simplistic for a Saturn title, the demo actions repetitive, and noted that the gameplay might not appeal to those unfamiliar with the source material. Finally, at 13th place is Hat Trick Hero S. This soccer game's simplicity and easy-to-understand rules were a draw for many, offering straightforward fun. Players appreciated the responsiveness and the satisfaction of scoring goals. However, a major drawback was the limited character roster and lack of tactical depth, making it feel less engaging for those seeking a more complex simulation. Player rankings continue, covering spots 14 to 18. At 14th, Off-World Interceptor Extreme offered enjoyable vehicle combat and tricky courses, but faced criticism for its controls and graphics. Kidou Senshi Gundam, Ochan no Okaki Logic, 15th, provided satisfying Picross puzzles, though some found it too simple. Rayman, 16th, earned high praise for its graphics, animations, and gameplay. Steinzeiger, Secret of the Seven Lights, 17th, impressed with its world and atmosphere, despite mixed opinions on gameplay. Finally, Papara Paun, 18th, presented a unique puzzle concept, but received mixed reviews due to issues with balance and depth, though some appreciated the character elements. This section ranks games from 19th to 23rd place. Moyero Pro Baseball 95 Doubleheader, 19th, received mixed reviews, with criticisms aimed at graphics, despite some appreciating its feel. Kanazawa Shugi, 20th, a shogi game, was praised for its strong A and challenge. Bug, 21st, a platformer, was lauded for action and visuals, though some found it repetitive. Bakuretsu Quiz Oyukethaisen DX, 22nd, a quiz game featuring comedians, was fun for fans of those personalities, but found the quizzes simplistic otherwise. Senryaku Shogi, 23rd, another shogi title, was considered a solid and engaging game. The page also includes a call for reader reviews, with a prize incentive, and lists games for the next month's issue. This page dives into current popularity and future hopes for Saturn titles. The pre-popularity ranking highlights the buzz around recent and upcoming releases, with Capcom titles like Vampire Hunter and Street Fighter Zero leading the pack. Other notable games with strong anticipation include Sega's Guardian Heroes, Panzer Dragoon Saga, and Fighting Vipers. The Saturn port Wish ranking reveals games readers are eager to see on the platform, dominated by Namco hits like Tekken 2 and Ridge Racer, alongside Square Enix's RPG giant Dragon Quest VI. Reader comments express enthusiasm for various titles, including hopes for arcade ports like Samurai Showdown and simulation games like Derby Stallion. The valuable CD jacket section showcases Wizard's Harmony, a character-raising simulation game. It includes details like release information and describes the core gameplay loop of nurturing relationships and triggering events. The page also provides extensive data for Wizard's Harmony, detailing how and where to find companions and trigger specific character events across different seasons and locations within the game world, illustrated with character portraits. The next page continues the feature on Wizard's Harmony, diving into character details with charts showing stats like fire, water, earth, wind, magic teaching, and general teaching levels for various companions. It also includes a character compatibility chart, indicating relationship potential between the protagonist and other characters using a letter grading system from A to G. Small screenshots show character events within the game. The bulk of the page, however, shifts focus dramatically, with a massive Saturn Scoop fan spread. Under the headline, Super Scoop! Raging wave of new titles. 22 games! The page highlights a rush of upcoming Sega Saturn releases for the new year, declaring that Saturn's momentum is unstoppable. Various game screenshots are scattered across the page, featuring titles across different genres. A contents list details many of the games to be featured in this scoop, including strategic simulations like World Advanced Daisen Ryaku Sakusen File and Legend of Galactic Heroes, action titles like Assault Suits Lanos 2 and Dynasty Wars 2, Battle of Chi Bai, fighting games like Dragon Ball Z, The Legend, sports with FIFA Soccer 96, and RPGs like Sorcerer Hunters. The page acts as an exciting preview, promising a diverse and extensive lineup of games heading to the console soon. The next page is a feature scoop on World Advanced Daisen Ryaku Sakusen File, a highly anticipated sequel for fans of strategic simulations. The page highlights that the game builds upon the strong system of its predecessor and, excitingly, introduces a new Soviet campaign. The developers discuss how they aim to depict the historical battles of World War II through the eyes of the Soviet Union, promising challenging scenarios. A particularly interesting section delves into the phantom weapons from the previous game, showcasing some bizarre and powerful units like the German Haube, an advanced aircraft, and the Japanese Kyoryu, a large creature, sparking speculation on whether similar hidden units will appear in this new installment. The developers also share comments about the game's design, assuring players that a wide variety of maps are included to cater to both beginners and seasoned strategy veterans. Screenshots show the game's strategic map view and unit representations. The next page showcases two exciting titles heading to the Sega Saturn. First, we have a preview for Legend of the Galactic Heroes, a war simulation game based on the immensely popular novel and anime series. Players will command massive fleets in real-time battles, with the iconic battleships from the series rendered as animated polygons, which is highlighted as a visual treat. The game also promises to feature over 100 characters from the Imperial and Alliance forces, including key figures like Reinhardt, Yang Wenli, Kirchheis, and Oberstein, appearing in event scenes with new illustrations and animation, promising a deep dive into the saga's story. Also featured is Clockworks, an action puzzle game from Tetris creator Alexei Pajitnov. This looks like a vibrant platformer set in a mechanical world, where the main character navigates levels filled with gears and clockwork. The preview teases challenging puzzles and confirms a two-player mode, suggesting it will be a fun experience to play with friends, trying to reach the goal first. This page delves into the upcoming Sega Saturn port of Capcom's classic arcade beat-em-up, Warriors of Fate 2. Hailed as a revival of a beloved title based on a popular comic, the article expresses excitement for the game's transition to the Saturn. The game is described as a thrilling action experience, heavily influenced by the romance of the Three Kingdoms saga. Players take on the role of one of 5 heroic generals, hacking and slashing their way through hordes of enemies. The unique personalities of the playable characters, along with the appearance of various famous and infamous figures from the historical epic, are highlighted as key draws. Screenshots showcase intense battles against multiple foes, mounted combat, and powerful special attacks. The 5 playable heroes are introduced. Guan Yu, known for his balanced fighting style, Zhang Fei, characterized by his wild nature and strength, Zhao Yun, praised for his calm demeanor and speed, Huang Zhong, an older but still formidable archer expert, and Wei Yan, a tactical fighter skilled in throws and jump attacks. The article emphasizes the satisfying beat-em-up action and the visual fidelity brought to the Saturn, promising a faithful recreation of the arcade experience. The presence of powerful and visually distinct boss characters adds to the challenge and spectacle. This page announces a new RPG from Microcab entitled Sword and Sorcery for the Sega Saturn. The game is described as a large-scale RPG transplant from 3DOs, featuring 3D environments and polygon-based graphics, a step up in visual fidelity. It focuses on the story of a young magic user girl. A significant highlight is that the characters in the game will talk, adding a layer of immersion. The protagonist is Russian, a young girl training as a magic user under a great sage. The story begins with her setting out on an adventure. Screenshots showcase exploration in field areas and inside structures, as well as dialogue sequences featuring character portraits. The page also introduces several characters and creature types, including the party member Urgoth, and monsters such as Minimina, Canion, Biomeltor, and the classic Golem, giving players a glimpse of the allies and foes they will encounter on their journey through the world of sword and sorcery. Sword and Sorcery features 3 map types: Field, Town, and Dungeon, with time progression in fields. Obstacles require destruction power based on weapon capabilities. Combat uses a command-based system, with attack, defense, item, equip, and runaway options, and turn order is determined by agility. Magic and special skills are crucial. Allies include summonable demon gods or spirits for magical support. Player management occurs via a camp menu for status checks, item use, and resting. A status screen displays attributes like HP and MP. The game offers camera angle customization, with options for a fixed view, high-speed view, and 2 VR perspectives. A character profile for Russian is provided, including her attributes and a voice actor contest. This page features Koei's strategic WW2 simulation, Pacific Theater of Operations 2, coming to the Saturn. The game focuses on detailed naval strategy, allowing players to command fleets and influence the course of history during World War II. Screenshots display the game's map interface and strategic units, while portraits highlight famous admirals and generals like Yamamoto and MacArthur, emphasizing that the commanders are the central figures. The article touches on the game's simulation depth and compares the Saturn version to previous Super Famicom and Windows releases, noting enhancements and features specific to the Saturn. Developers discuss the appeal of the Saturn version, mentioning improved graphics and the inclusion of historical figures who influence gameplay. This page continues the deep dive into Koei's Pacific Theater of Operations 2. It breaks down the complex gameplay into strategic and tactical layers. The strategy section covers overall management, base management, and fleet management, emphasizing the depth with systems like a tense meeting phase, where players use cards to influence decisions, adding a unique element of unpredictability. The tactical section explains the turn flow, starting with movement orders followed by attack orders, which then lead into battle sequences, showcasing air and naval combat. Screenshots illustrate these phases, showing strategic maps, battle scenes, and interface elements. The page also includes an encyclopedia showcasing Imperial Japanese units, detailing ships like the Nagato class, and aircraft like the Zero Fighter, highlighting their significance in the game. The reviewer clearly appreciates the game's detailed simulation and strategic complexity. Koei is releasing 3 titles for the Sega Saturn. Air Management 96 is a business simulation where players manage an airline, featuring updated graphics and a complete overhaul of the Super Famicom version. Winning Post 2 is a horse racing simulation that includes RPG elements, allowing players to manage stables, breed horses, and experience the racing world through events and character interactions, with improved visuals and sound. Iketsuden offers a new take on Romance of the Three Kingdoms as a strategy RPG, with a story-driven narrative and polygonal battle scenes, departing from the series' typical grand strategy format. Quote, "This page showcases Alone in the Dark 2, highlighting its arrival on the Sega Saturn as a polygon adventure. The article notes the Saturn version features enhanced visuals thanks to texture mapping, making it look better than the original PC release. It details the game's premise. Edward Carnby must infiltrate the mansion Hell's Kitchen, inhabited by the villain Jack and the witch Elizabeth Jarrett, to rescue a kidnapped girl named Grace. Gameplay involves exploring the mansion, investigating clues, and interacting with the environment, using actions like push. Combat is also a major part of the game, requiring players to fight various enemies, including zombies and members of Jack's gang, using firearms and other weapons. The article emphasizes the importance of strategic item use, mentioning unique items like a grappling hook and even a Santa Claus costume, which are crucial for progression and overcoming obstacles. It also praises the game's cinematic presentation, with dynamic camera angles creating a movie-like experience. The content advises players to be cautious, save frequently due to the game's difficulty, and thoroughly search for hidden items to avoid frustrating game overs. Key characters: Edward Carnby, the young detective, Grace Saunders, the kidnapped girl, and Elizabeth Jarrett, the ancient witch, are introduced with brief descriptions. This page unveils a new RPG for the Sega Saturn called Cyberdoll from Amax, designed for hardcore gamers. The article highlights the game's deep cyberpunk atmosphere crafted by designer Figuya. Set in the future metropolis Zerosity, a cultural melting pot reminiscent of Blade Runner, the game centers around a mysterious mechanical life form known as DV. Players take on the role of a member of the special unit Debugger, tasked with combating these invaders. A unique gameplay mechanic involves powering up by taking parts from defeated enemies. The story features complicated relationships, introducing key characters like Maria, the supercomputer guiding Debugger, Layla, a mysterious woman rescued from the DV, Monica, a young woman with a surprisingly childish side, and Gig, a rival soldier in Debugger. The combat is shown from a first-person perspective, while exploration is presented via an overhead view, with detailed character status screens available. The visuals and character designs are noted as strong points, contributing to the game's gritty, futuristic feel. This page focuses on the upcoming Sega Saturn title, based on the popular manga and TV anime series, Sorcerer Hunters. Presented as a digital comic, the game promises to adapt the anime while adding new elements. The article highlights that the Saturn version will contain content from the first 5 episodes of the TV series, but its main draw appears to be the visuals, particularly the transformation scenes of characters like Tiara and Chocola. The game proudly promotes itself as being more erotic than the TV anime, showcasing the characters in their revealed, less conservative outfits. Key characters featured include Carrot, Maron, Tira, Chocola, and Gateau. The game is classified as an adventure/digital comic and is recommended for players aged 18 and over, underscoring the focus on its mature content compared to the TV broadcast. Early purchasers were set to receive a bonus CD with extra content. This page showcases the upcoming Gradius Deluxe Pack for the Sega Saturn, bringing classic arcade shooting action home. It features both the original Gradius and its sequel, Gradius 2. As foundational titles in the shooter genre, their appearance on the Saturn is a big deal, allowing a new generation to experience their legendary difficulty and innovative gameplay. The article highlights the iconic power-up system, a hallmark of the series where collecting capsules lets you strategically build your ship's capabilities. It also touches upon the unique enemy designs and attack patterns that require players to learn and adapt. A key feature of the Saturn port is the ability to change the screen ratio, offering arcade-accurate, zoomed, or full-screen display options, a welcome addition for fans wanting an authentic experience. Screenshots throughout the page illustrate key moments, enemy types like the Moai heads, and impressive boss encounters from both games, demonstrating the fateful arcade conversions. This pack promises the pure, challenging Gradius experience fans know and love. This page showcases 2 upcoming Sega Saturn titles, Dragon Ball Z Shin Butoden and Heavy Nova 2. Dragon Ball Z Shin Butoden brings the iconic battles of the series into a 3D space, moving beyond the traditional 2D fighter format seen in previous Dragon Ball games. A standout feature is the ability to have multi-character battles, not just one-on-one duels. The page highlights several major villains players will face, including the powerful Frieza, the perfected Cell, and the unpredictable Majin Buu, all rendered in the game's distinct anime-style 3D graphics. Screenshots show off the dynamic battlefield and special move effects. The other major feature is Heavy Nova 2, the sequel to the sci-fi action shooter Heavy Nova. The page includes an interview with planner Kenji Miyamoto from NCS/Messiah. He discusses the game's development on the Saturn, emphasizing its action shooting gameplay and technical aspects, like using polygons for elements like the background, which was uncommon for the hardware. The article also briefly touches upon the series' history, referencing the original Heavy Nova and the Super Famicom title Cybernator, setting expectations for intense mecha combat in this new installment. This page features 2 upcoming titles. On the left is Sand Aura, highlighted as Scoop 16. It's presented as a game packed with puzzle and action elements, specifically featuring over 27 different types of minigames, including shooting. The goal is to recover treasure stolen by villains, progressing through a story mode that includes boss battles. The screenshots show various minigame styles and character designs, suggesting a varied and quirky experience. On the right, under Scoop 17, is FIFA Soccer 96. This game is described as a massive football simulation, featuring over 200 soccer clubs and more than 50 national teams from around the world. It aims for realism in player movement and stadium representation. Key features include various game modes, like replicating the World Cup and League play. The page particularly highlights the diverse presentation options, offering 7 different camera angles, such as the classic telecam, endzone cam, and ball cam, allowing players to customize their viewing experience. The next page unveils 3 exciting new titles. First up is Scoop 18, featuring Linkle River, an action RPG with cute animal characters venturing into a whimsical yet challenging world. You'll meet companions like Robin, Beryl, and Rara, and encounter unique enemies like Puchimuku. An interesting mechanic highlighted is a system where you plant and grow weapons, adding a unique twist to progression. Next, under Scoop 19, is Logic Puzzle Rainbow Towns. This game is perfect for those who enjoy flexing their brain, offering classic logic puzzles in both monochrome and color varieties. The color puzzles require you to layer red, yellow, and blue solutions to create the final 7-color image, promising a deeper challenge with over 700 puzzles included. Finally, Scoop 20 caters to horse racing enthusiasts with Kiba Data Stable. This isn't just a race simulator. It's a massive database containing detailed information on horses, jockeys, and past races, featuring over 200 data points. You can search through this extensive data, replay historical races in a simulator mode, or test your knowledge with a quiz, providing a comprehensive resource for fans of the sport. This page reveals Gothai 2, a sci-fi mechanical simulation, Gusun Oyoyo S, a falling block puzzle action game, and Mobile Suit Gundam, a side-scrolling action title. This page features prominent artwork from the Mobile Suit Gundam game on the left, showing a detailed close-up of a Goof and Char's Zaku. It includes a list of the various mobile suits and mobile armors appearing in the game, featuring iconic designs like the Gundam, Gun Cannon, Zaku, Goof, Dom, and the Big Zam. The right side is dedicated to the Conehead Club, a community section where readers share their thoughts and letters. Various columns cover topics like the reasons people bought the Sega Saturn, often comparing it to their previous experiences with the Sega Genesis. Readers discuss games like Virtua Fighter 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog, sharing their initial impressions and hopes for the console. Another section highlights short reader comments, while a column dedicated to Mega Drivers continues the theme of transitioning to the Saturn, or discussing Genesis favorites like XDR and Steel Empire 2. There's also a Saru Discovery Report listing games that have a thematic connection to Saru, Monkey, including titles like Cyber Troopers Virtualon and Puyo Puyo Sun. This section offers a glimpse into the fan community's interests and discussions surrounding the Saturn library at the time. This page kicks off with a feature on Guardian Heroes, showcasing character art and some gameplay screenshots, highlighting a campaign supporting the character Nicole. The main event is the Reader's Present section, offering game-related giveaways, including Battle Arena to Shinden figures and plushies, a Wizard's Harmony mousepad, and posters for Tenchi Muyo and the Virtua Fighter anime. There's also a contest for a Death Mask t-shirt. The Free Space section displays reader-submitted fan art, featuring characters like those from Galaxy Fight. Following that, a section provides guidelines for readers submitting letters and artwork, outlining the rules for contributing to the magazine's community pages. Finally, the page details a photo CD contest, inviting readers to submit photos related to themes like hometowns or scenery, for a chance to win prizes like Sega Saturn photo CD players. The next page kicks off with News Dynamite, bringing a mix of Sega Saturn updates. It starts with a report on the voice recording for Kyo Flying Squadron, Akatsuki no Soryuki, featuring the voice cast. Simulation fans are put on alert with a contest tied to SimCity 2000 and Theme Park, offering overseas trips for creative game ideas. There's excitement about merchandise, specifically a highly regarded guide for the award-winning adventure game D. Game music enthusiasts have reason to celebrate with the simultaneous release of soundtracks for Virtua Cop, Guardian Heroes, and Virtua Fighter 2. The page also ventures into idol culture with an update on Q.T related to the game Quo Vadis, highlighting their first live event and single. Voice actress and singer Aki Kusachi, also connected to Quo Vadis, is featured for her diverse media activities. For fighting game fans, there's news on a Darkstalkers drama CD, based on the Japanese title Vampire Hunter, featuring a packed voice cast. Lastly, a practical item gets a mention: the surprisingly handy Sega Saturn controller extension cord. The page wraps up by listing winners from a previous reader survey contest, and explaining how to apply for the various prizes offered. This page is dedicated to the first annual Sega Saturn Game Grand Prize, a reader survey where fans get to vote for their favorite games released by the end of 1995. It explains that readers are the judges, evaluating games they've actually played across 6 criteria: character appeal, music/sound effects, value for money, controls, addiction/enthusiasm, and originality, using a 5-point scale. The page includes examples of how to score games and instructions on submitting the survey form by mail before the February 2nd deadline. As a bonus, 50 participants will win a Sega Saturn game of their choice, including titles they might have missed or couldn't afford. The main feature is the survey form itself, listing 80 games released up to December 31st, 1995, for readers to evaluate, ranging from major hits like Virtua Fighter and Panzer Dragoon to various mahjong, simulation, and adventure titles. The next page continues the reader survey from before, listing games from number 81 to 145 for fans to rate. This covers a wide range of titles, everything from SimCity 2000 and Virtua Fighter scores to various obscure mahjong, puzzle, and sports games. However, the main focus here is a special feature from the Game Research Lab. It's a deep dive into SimCity 2000, prompted by readers who are still building their perfect cities. The guide offers essential tips for urban development, starting with the basics like placing power plants. They highly recommend starting with hydroelectric plants if your terrain allows, noting you can even use the terrain editor beforehand. It lays out the fundamental steps for getting your city off the ground, covering infrastructure like roads, power, and water, along with zoning and public facilities. Then it moves into expansion, detailing how to grow your city by adding entertainment, managing pollution, building transportation hubs like airports and seaports, and even enacting city ordinances. There's a table outlining the different types of power plants you can build, listing their costs and outputs, which is super helpful for planning your energy grid. The page includes a small screenshot showing the SimCity 2000 interface, highlighting the various icons. The intro also teases features on Virtua Fighter S, X-Men, and Mobile Suit Gundam coming up. This page continues the deep dive into SimCity 2000 from the Game Research Lab. It moves beyond the initial setup, focusing on expanding your city and managing its challenges. The guide emphasizes a gradual expansion after establishing the basics, recommending stimulating the economy by integrating transportation hubs like railways, seaports, and airports. It also covers using city ordinances to shape your city, affecting things like livability, safety, and finance. There are sections discussing how different facilities impact land value and the importance of tackling pollution to create a clean environment. A key goal highlighted is reaching a population of 120,000 to unlock the ultimate late-game structure, the arcology, which is shown in a screenshot. The guide also offers advice on managing your budget if funds become tight, and stresses the classic SimCity wisdom of separating industrial and residential zones, illustrating this with diagrams and example zoning patterns. Overall, it's a solid guide to taking your city from a small town to a thriving metropolis and achieving endgame milestones. This page delves into the Game Research Lab's special features, covering combat techniques and reader questions for several popular games. The main focus is a detailed guide to character combos in Battle Arena to Shinden Seas, showcasing how to link attacks and special moves for 10 different fighters, including Eiji, Cayenne, Duke, Mondo, Chaos, Ellis, Sophia, Gaia, and Sho. It provides specific command inputs and describes the mechanics of chaining moves effectively, crucial for mastering the game's combat system. Beyond Toshinden, the page transitions into a Q&A section, covering strategies for other titles. For X-Men, the fighting game, a reader asks for help defeating the final boss, Magneto, and the response provides specific tactics and illustrates his attacks with screenshots. Similarly, for a Mobile Suit Gundam game, there's advice on tackling challenging enemies in Stage 10, including Gyan and Char's formidable Gelgoog. Finally, the page includes a call for readers to submit their own game questions, strategies, and ideas for future features, specifically mentioning games like Quo Vadis, showing the magazine actively engages with its audience for content. The next page presents a reader survey combined with a prize giveaway, encouraging fans to provide feedback in exchange for a chance to win software and merchandise. This is how the magazine interacts with its readership, understanding what they want to see in future issues. The survey asks a range of questions covering demographics like age, school, and gender, reading habits including other magazines, gaming setup, computers, online usage, and preferences for articles and games. Readers are asked to rate articles from the current issue and list games they've enjoyed and ones they wish to buy. The input gathered helps shape the magazine's content, ensuring it covers topics and games of interest to the Sega Saturn community.
The exciting part is the presents.
Readers can win copies of popular games like Vampire Hunter, Darkstalkers, Ninku, Mato Kairyu World Fishing, Tenchi MUU, Ryute Onsen Yukimori no Tabi, Siberia, and Pro Mahjong Kiwame S.
There's also a chance to win a Guardian Heroes phone card.
Important notes detail how to fill out the survey postcard accurately so it can be read by a computer, emphasizing clear writing and following specific rules for numbers. The page also includes extensive lists of articles from the current issue, other magazines, relevant gaming machines, and a comprehensive list of Sega Saturn, Mega Drive, and Mega CD games, serving as reference points for the survey questions. The next page features a deep dive into MediaQuest Inc. in the 10th installment of the New Challengers Profile and Project series. This article explores the company's strategy, including their goal of releasing one high-impact software title per month, and their multi-platform approach. Screenshots highlight some of their diverse projects like Matsukata Hiroki's World Fishing, Teslotl, Escape from the Wasteland, Lifescape, a 4 billion-year journey of life creation, and the arcade port Aero Fighters Special. The facing page delivers an attack, with a major feature on Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter Zero. A striking illustration showcases key characters from the game. The article introduces the game as the next evolution building on the Street Fighter II legacy, and promises detailed information and basic strategies specifically for the Sega Saturn version. Gameplay screenshots demonstrate the intense fighting action players can expect from this highly anticipated title. This page continues the focus on Street Fighter Alpha, detailing the Sega Saturn version's features. It breaks down the three main game modes: arcade, versus, and training, explaining their purpose. The article then dives deep into 5 core battle system mechanics: auto guard, zero counter, down avoidance, chain combos, and throw/reception. Screenshots illustrate these concepts and show various characters in action, including Ryu, Ken, Birdie, and others. The content emphasizes how these systems add strategic depth and accessibility for both newcomers and experienced players. It highlights exclusive features of the Saturn version, particularly within the training mode for honing skills. This page focuses on the iconic duo, Ryu and Ken, in Street Fighter Alpha. It provides a detailed breakdown of their special moves, listing the command inputs for classics like the Hadoken, Shoryuken, and Tatsumaki Senpukyaku, as well as their powerful super combos like the Shinku Hadoken and Shin Shoryuken. The article delves into the fundamental strategies for playing each character. For Ryu, the emphasis is on his solid basics and effective chain combos, recommending Wave Motion Punch and Dragon Punch as core tactics. It also highlights the importance of weak sweeps and close-range chain combos. Ryu's super combos, particularly the Vacuum Wave Motion Punch, are noted for their versatility. Ken's section discusses his similar but distinct style, noting his slightly shorter reach but faster attacks, and unique moves like the forward roll. His effective chain combos and strong Dragon Punch are highlighted. The piece covers utilizing his moves to create opportunities and capitalize on zero counters. The super combos, including the Shinri Uken, are powerful finishing tools, especially when canceling into them from chain combos or jump attacks. Screenshots throughout the page demonstrate various moves and combo sequences for both characters, providing visual examples of the strategies discussed. This page shifts focus to Chun-Li and Rose from Street Fighter Alpha. For Chun-Li, the guide emphasizes her speed and powerful chain combos, noting her reliance on basic attacks like the crouching medium kick. Key special moves covered include the 100 hand slap, lightning legs, and the spinning bird kick, along with her versatile super combos like the Kikushou and Senretsu Kyaku. The commentary suggests leveraging her agility for mix-ups and controlling space. Rose's section highlights her strong chain combos and defensive/zoning capabilities, using her Soul Reflect to nullify projectiles and Soul Spark for offense. The guide details her unique moves like the sliding and the strategic use of her Soul Illusion super combo to extend combinations and increase damage output. It positions her as a character who excels at controlling the opponent's approach and punishing mistakes from a distance. Screenshots across the page illustrate various normal moves, special move applications, and chain combo sequences for both fighters, providing visual demonstrations of the tactics discussed. This page continues the guide to Street Fighter Alpha, focusing on Birdie and Nash. Birdie is presented as a powerful grappler, emphasizing his devastating throw-based attacks and strong special moves like the Murderer Chain and Bullhorn. Despite his slow movement, the guide notes his limited chain combos but highlights how his strong special attacks, particularly the Bullhorn, are crucial for creating offensive pressure and capitalizing on opportunities. Screenshots demonstrate key moves and simple combo sequences. Nash is described as a Guile-type character, relying on charge moves like the Sonic Boom for zoning and the Somersault Shell for anti-air and offense. The guide points out the precision required with his moves due to their startup and recovery, recommending a patient playstyle that controls space with the Sonic Boom and punishes opponents. Key super combos like the Sonic Break and Crossfire Blitz are highlighted as effective tools for extending pressure and dealing damage. Screenshots show zoning tactics, combo sequences, and special move applications. Both sections provide insights into leveraging each character's unique strengths to control the fight. This page continues the guide to Street Fighter Alpha, focusing on the distinct fighting styles of Guy and Sodom. Guy is presented as a versatile and technical character, excelling in his Bushin Ryu chain combos and mobility. While requiring practice due to complex inputs, his speed and variety of special moves, like the Bushin Hurricane Kick and Izuna Drop, make him a high-potential offensive force capable of pressuring opponents and creating openings. His super combos, such as the Bushin Lightning Kick, are highlighted for extending pressure and finishing combos. Sodom, on the other hand, is characterized by his high attack power and strong special moves like the Jigoku Scrape and Daikyo Burning. Despite his large size, these moves provide surprising reach and pressure, making him effective at controlling space and dealing significant damage. The guide notes the importance of his standing strong kick, which can break guards, and integrating his powerful specials into chain combos. His super combos, including Mado Miyage and the throw-based Tenchu Satsu, are recommended for concluding combos or punishing specific situations. This page continues the character guides for Street Fighter Alpha, covering the distinct styles of Akadon and Sagat. Akadon is presented as a challenging but rewarding character. While seemingly tricky with a limited move list, his attacks have strong hitboxes, making him effective at finding and exploiting openings. His main strategy revolves around hitting quickly and pressing the advantage. Key moves include his various Jaguar attacks like the Rising Jaguar and the unique Jagged Kick, which is highlighted for its forward movement and usefulness in combos. His super combos offer options for both close-range mix-ups and full-screen assaults. Sagat, known for his raw power, focuses on controlling space, with his signature Tiger Shots and potent Tiger Uppercut. His long reach and anti-air capabilities make him a formidable defensive zoner. The guide emphasizes the importance of his medium kick for pressure and integrating his powerful specials into chain combos. Utilizing his super combos, particularly the devastating Tiger Genocide, is crucial for maximizing damage and finishing rounds. The page showcases screenshots illustrating their moves and basic strategies. This page dives into the realm of advanced player-submitted techniques, or ULTEC, for various Sega Saturn titles. The focus is heavily on Sega Rally Championship, offering tips like how to select the powerful Lancia Stratos by inputting a specific button sequence on the title screen, unlocking the challenging Lakeside course by pressing X and Y together in the Time Attack course selection, and even finding a ghost car by selecting a course and lap number in Time Attack and pressing X and Z with Circa. Beyond the racing action, the page features tricks for other games. For Mystic Defender, there's a method to unlock additional characters like Gaia, Shao, and Cupido by inputting a code on the title screen. F1 Live Information players can learn how to drive the Tyrrell or enter a camera work mode with specific button presses. For fans of strategic warfare, a tip for World Advanced Daisen Ryaku shows how to change the battle animation settings. Even Mahjong players get a look in, with super real Mahjong graffiti tips detailing how to quickly challenge specific opponents like Megumi, Kasumi, and Shizuka. The page concludes with a section calling for readers to submit their own hidden techniques for a chance to be featured and receive prizes. It's a fantastic collection of insider knowledge straight from the player base, perfect for uncovering secrets in these classic Saturn titles. This page presents a split focus, showcasing the diverse content found within the magazine. On the left, the focus is on adult-oriented media, with a feature on Virtua Photo Studio, a camera simulation game for the Sega Saturn featuring models. It highlights the 18+ rating, mentions a video gift offer, and includes details about the game's release and pricing from Acclaim Japan. The right side shifts gears dramatically to the world of fighting games, specifically celebrating Virtua Fighter 2. This section is dedicated to the magazine's Virtua Coliseum feature, described as a powered-up corner for fans. It delves into advanced gameplay, covering strategies like effective attack selection, offense and defense upon getting up, and axis changes. It also teases discoveries like a hidden character loser, and discusses competitive challenges such as a 15th Dan acquisition time attack. An illustration of Akira Yuki from Virtua Fighter underscores the fighting game theme. This page continues the Virtua Coliseum's deep dive into Virtua Fighter 2, focusing on the crucial concept of selection attacks, essentially the art of mix-ups to break your opponent's guard. The core strategy revolves around effectively mixing mid-level attacks and throws, which are fundamental for dealing damage once guard is bypassed. The guide highlights how using similar command inputs for different options makes these mix-ups faster and harder for the opponent to react to. It also points out VF2's automatic follow-up attacks as key components of these strategies. Defensive techniques against mix-ups are also covered, detailing methods to counter after being hit by a low punch, and how to handle attack selection when the opponent is in a stunned state. A significant portion is dedicated to character-specific tactics, outlining effective mix-up techniques for fighters like Akira, Jackie, Sarah, and others. The page further explains concepts like the package cancel, a technique used to shorten recovery and set up mix-ups, and different types of stun, crucial knowledge for exploiting openings. This page delves into the crucial strategy of getting up in Virtua Fighter 2, a critical moment that can quickly turn the tide of a fight. It explains that how you get up depends heavily on the state you were knocked down in, whether you're face up, face down, and which direction your body is facing relative to your opponent. The guide emphasizes that making the correct wake-up choice is dependent on the opponent's position, whether they are close, far, or near the ring edge. Different wake-up methods are detailed, including the immediate wake-up, various rolls, side roll, head spring, backwards forward roll, and even direct wake-up attacks, mid and low. Each method offers different advantages, such as invincibility frames, creating distance, or attempting to counter the opponent's follow-up pressure. It's crucial to master these techniques to escape unfavorable situations and potentially launch your own offense. Special consideration is given to recovering near the ringside, recommending side rolls away from the edge or carefully timed attacks to break free. This section provides essential insights for surviving knockdowns and regaining control of the match. This page dives into the crucial concept of axis movement in Virtua Fighter 2, explaining the difference between Jun-soku, normal stance, where fighters face each other squarely, and Gyaku-soku, reverse stance, where their feet are misaligned. Mastering how to switch between these stances, primarily through running or specific character moves, is highlighted as essential for adapting strategy. Changing stances significantly impacts attack hitboxes and makes throws more difficult. The guide also shows how air combos can differ in success based on the current stance. There's a quick scoop about the Sega Saturn version, noting the presence of Defeat Hawk, a state encountered when battling the CPU, making ringouts the primary way to win, suggesting it's quite challenging. Finally, the page announces a joint project between Sega Saturn Fan and AM2 Research, a time attack contest for players who have achieved 15th Dan, ranking in Virtua Fighter 2 on the Saturn, offering exclusive AM2 goods as prizes. It also lists the winners from a previous Reader's Present giveaway. The next page is packed with arcade goodness coming to Saturn. The big news is a joint event between Saturn Fan and AM3 Lab for the puzzle game Baku Baku Animal, pitting players against each other in a high-score contest on the Saturn version. There's also advice from an AM2 staffer on how to master the game. We also get a look at the AM3 team members who are apparently quite skilled players themselves. Speaking of AM2, there's a report on an advanced trial event for the upcoming arcade port of Cyber Troopers Virtualon. Players got hands-on time with the game, and the AM3 team members even showed off their piloting skills. There's a cool screenshot showing the intense mech combat. Readers also have a chance to win some Virtualon merchandise. Rounding out the page is a report on a large Polygon Junkie event, likely related to AM2's Polygon games, featuring lots of players enjoying the action. And there's a hint for the next issue focusing on Sarah Bryant from Virtua Fighter. This page delves into the world of Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, focusing on a new system added to the series' long history of demon fusion, Demon Crystal Transformation. This intriguing feature allows demons loyal to the protagonist to transform into valuable items. The article explains that a demon's loyalty is key, and the resulting item depends on the demon and its level. Screenshots showcase the visual process of a demon transforming into an item. The page also highlights examples of items you can obtain through this method, indicating the level ranges at which certain powerful equipment might be acquired. Additionally, there's a story digest summarizing the plot up to the previous issue, touching upon key characters and unfolding events, along with screenshots featuring character dialogue, hinting at the challenges and mysteries awaiting the player in the game's midsection. This page continues the comprehensive guide for Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner, pushing deeper into the game's midsection as the story intensifies. It covers several new areas players will explore, including the otherworldly Hibarigaoka and Hikawa Shrine, and the Hirazaki City Museum, presenting detailed guide maps for each. These maps are crucial, marking warp points, various hazards like HP/MP draining spots and pitfalls, and the locations of key events and boss battles. The guide highlights significant story moments, such as the urgent need to rescue Kumiko, and later, the plight of Rei within the museum. Players will encounter new characters, like Takashi, whose appearance holds significance, and the powerful Suzuno at the Hikawa Shrine. Combat tips are provided for formidable demons encountered in these areas, including Archangel, Killer Chopper, and Ocelot, detailing their strengths and weaknesses. The page also previews challenging boss fights against the Strigoi duo and the imposing Dantalion, offering strategic advice to overcome them. The increased complexity of maps and the introduction of traps are noted, emphasizing the need for thorough exploration and preparation, suggesting that searching every corner for items is often rewarding.
This page continues the in-depth guide for Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner, delving into the challenging East Asia TV station and its radio tower, described as the biggest hurdle in the midgame. The guide details navigation through the complex multi-floor layouts of both buildings, emphasizing the need to explore thoroughly due to numerous pit traps and a unique elevator system in the tower. Strategic advice is provided for tackling tough demons like Zakum, Power, and Mosman, highlighting their stats and weaknesses to exploit in combat. The guide also points out crucial locations like the energy source room on the TV station's 5th floor, which is tied to a major boss battle. Detailed maps are included for various floors of both the TV station and radio tower, showing warp points, traps, and key areas. Finally, strategies are offered for defeating the bosses encountered in these areas: Orgon Ghost, whose energy supply can be cut off, and the difficult Volniker, recommending quick tactics using specific spells. This page continues the guide for Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner, shifting focus to the Hiragashi City Central Police Station. The guide highlights the protagonist's initial confinement and the path to escape and rescue the police chief, noting challenging navigation through multi-floor maps with potential traps. It also introduces a larger plot point concerning a mysterious organization. Strategies are provided for dealing with the Demon Legion, emphasizing its weaknesses and attack patterns like the confusing panic voice. The page then details the boss battle against Kubanda, describing its powerful attacks and recommending physical strikes while reflecting magic, calling it potentially the toughest fight yet. A significant portion is dedicated to demon fusion and the unique sword fusion system. It explains that the most powerful demons can only be created through specific special fusions, not standard combinations. The guide also reveals that fusing swords with demons enhances their power, listing several key sword names like Shishichitu and Murakumo, along with some of their fusion recipes and effects, urging players to experiment to create the ultimate sword. This page is a fantastic strategy guide for mastering Sega Rally Championship 1995, specifically aimed at players looking to excel in time attack contests. It breaks down key techniques for shaving off precious seconds on the track. The guide starts with general advice on repetitive practice and minimum requirements for improving lap times. It emphasizes the crucial first lap and even tackles the classic debate of automatic versus manual transmission, noting that while both can be fast, manual offers more control for advanced players, while automatic is great for newcomers. It dives into mastering critical time-saving points on each course and provides overall strategy, highlighting understanding the course layout, anticipating obstacles, and using the classic out-and-out cornering technique. Optimal racing lines and the strategic use of grip versus drift are also discussed, stressing that knowing when to drift and when to maintain grip is key to speed. Finally, it offers specific tactical advice for each of the game's iconic stages: desert, forest, mountain, and lakeside, pointing out key challenges and optimal approaches for corners and sections unique to each track. Screenshots throughout the page illustrate these techniques and crucial points on the courses. This is essential reading for anyone serious about conquering the time attack leaderboards in Sega Rally.
This article offers advanced tuning strategies for Sega Rally Championship 1995 Time Attack, detailing car setup examples for each track: desert, mountain, forest, and lakeside. It guides players on adjusting handling, tires, suspension, and blow-off valve pressure based on each course's needs. The debate between the Toyota Celica and Lancia Delta is addressed, with the Celica favored for its ease of handling, though the Delta is acknowledged as capable. The page culminates with the announcement of the Sega Rally Championship Time Attack contest, encouraging players to submit their best times by January 26th. The contest featured 2 divisions: Normal, Celica Delta, and Stratos, Lancia Stratos, with prizes awarded for overall best times and per-course achievements, fostering competition and skill development among players. This page previews Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club, a simulation game for the Sega Saturn where you build and manage a local soccer team aiming to conquer the J.League. The game puts you in charge of all aspects of the club, from selecting its home city and sponsors, to handling finances and developing facilities like the stadium and clubhouse. A key focus is on managing your players and staff, involving recruitment of both domestic and foreign talent through scouting, training them, and overseeing their condition. You'll need to strategize for matches and make decisions that impact the team's performance and financial health. The article highlights the game's depth, covering everything from choosing player tactics to deciding on foreign player signings, with specific countries noted for their player characteristics. It's a detailed look at the challenge of turning a local club into a J.League champion. This page expands on the gameplay mechanics of Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club, detailing how you nurture players and manage the team during matches. Player development is crucial, involving various training regimens like basic skills, specialized training for positions, formation drills, and tactical practice. You'll monitor player stats closely to track their improvement and manage their physical condition to avoid injuries. Match days put your strategic skills to the test. While the games are simulated, your influence is paramount. Before kickoff and at halftime, you set the team's formation, choose defensive styles like a high line or a deep libero, and decide on overall tactics such as counterattacking or zonal marking. The game shows you the action, allowing you to observe how your strategy is playing out and make adjustments based on the flow of the match and your opponent's approach. Setting win bonuses is another incentive you can use. Beyond individual matches, the page highlights tracking your progress through the J.League season with standings and player rankings. This page features a deep dive into the simulation game, The Tower for the Sega Saturn. The central goal is to construct and manage a massive skyscraper, ultimately reaching 80 floors, all while keeping your tenants satisfied. The game starts by choosing one of 4 distinct locations, each offering unique challenges and opportunities: Business City, International Airport, Commercial City, or Resort City. Success hinges on balancing different types of tenants, like offices, residences, and hotels, as each has specific needs and affects the tower's dynamics. A critical aspect is managing the internal flow of people, especially through strategic placement and customization of elevators, as long wait times significantly stress tenants. The page highlights the game's depth, noting it's a complex simulation where you manage resources, build various facilities, and respond to unexpected events, such as VIP visits, fires, or earthquakes. Reaching certain milestones and satisfying specific conditions allows your tower to rank up. A cool feature mentioned is Tower Vision, which displays advertisements within the game, sometimes featuring real-world companies or even characters from other games. The article praises the game's replayability and the satisfying challenge of building and optimizing your vertical metropolis. This page dives into Matsukata Hiroki's World Fishing, a simulation game that brings the excitement of both big game fishing for billfish and angling for black bass to the Sega Saturn. Featuring the renowned angler Hiroki Matsukata himself, the game blends realistic CG visuals with real-life footage to recreate the intense fight with massive fish. The core objective is often tournament victory, requiring players to master the art of lure selection, timing, and the demanding battle against powerful marine life like marlin or large bass. The game emphasizes the realistic physics of the fight, where brute strength and technique are equally important. Beyond the main tournament mode, there are options for beginners with helpful lectures, free fishing to hone skills, and even a records mode. Guest appearances, like that of Chieko Morimoto, add to the presentation, making this a comprehensive fishing simulation that caters to both newcomers and seasoned virtual anglers. This page covers 2 distinct adventure games hitting the Sega Saturn. On the left is Tenchi Muyo Ryuki, the Misokara Hot Spring Adventure,
an original story adventure based on the beloved anime series, featuring new characters and locations like the Mimi Onsen Hot Spring. Gameplay is simple, using a 4-command system to navigate the story, filled with voice-acted dialogue and familiar faces like Ryoko, Ayeka, and Sasami, alongside the new girl Mimi. On the right, we look at Siberia, a celebrated PC adventure game making its way to Saturn. This is an SF adventure, utilizing rendered graphics and incorporating action sequences. Players control Zark, a hacker tasked with infiltrating an enemy base to protect a vital secret. The game blends exploration via hovercraft and interaction with characters like Deeplin with sudden action moments where you defend the base. It conveniently features an automatic save system, making the challenging sections easier to tackle repeatedly. The page showcases various screenshots from both titles, highlighting the anime style of Tenchi Muyo and the 3D rendered environments and character models of Siberia. This page features 2 very different Sega Saturn titles. On the left, we dive into Death Mask, an SFX heavy adventure game presented like a Hollywood movie. You take on the role of a detective who, after an incident chasing a criminal, wakes up in a hospital with the villain's face surgically grafted onto his own. The game blends classic adventure gameplay with interactive choices and sudden action sequences, such as shootouts. It boasts a serious, cyberpunk-inspired storyline. On the right, we have the puzzle game, Guron Guro. This is a falling object game, where the goal is to connect 4 or more of the same strange amoeba-like creatures called Guro, to make them disappear and create chains. The page highlights the addictive chain reactions and showcases several different gameplay modes, including score attack, time-based challenges, and head-to-head competitive play. It looks like a fun and challenging puzzle experience. This page showcases a mix of genres across different Sega platforms. On the left, we find Kiwame's Pro Mahjong, a deep dive into the world of competitive mahjong featuring 16 real professional players. The game boasts multiple modes, including standard 4-player competitive matches against these pros, a detailed analysis mode to help players improve their strategy, and a challenging scenario-based mode. Breaking through the challenge mode can even earn players an invitation to a real mahjong tournament, adding a unique competitive element. The page highlights some of the featured pros with their photos and introduces the different moods and expressions depicted for players during gameplay. The right side is dedicated to Mega Drive and Game Gear news. It introduces 2 new Game Gear titles. First up is Ninku 2, an action game based on the popular anime series, featuring a story mode that follows events from the anime and a versus mode for head-to-head combat, complete with special moves. Below that is Baku Baku Animal, a charming falling block puzzle game where players feed animals to clear blocks and build combos. The page also includes a small info section mentioning other upcoming Sega releases, including Fatal Fury on Game Gear and Shadowrun, and Zool for the Mega Drive. This page previews 2 upcoming Sega Saturn titles. First up is Victory Goal 96, a J.League soccer game featuring realistic motion-captured player movements and polygon graphics. It highlights the inclusion of new clubs, such as Kyoto Purple Sanga and Avispa Fukuoka, bringing the total roster to all J.League teams at the time. Players can also enjoy the game across 3 distinct stadium types with multiple camera views. The second game is Snatcher, a classic cyberpunk adventure game previously available on PC platforms. This Saturn version is notable for including the complete story, finally integrating the previously separate final act into one package. Set in the grim, futuristic Neo-Kobe city, the game follows Junker agents investigating the mysterious Snatchers. The page features character art for protagonist Gillian Seed and his partner Random Hajil, and showcases some of the game's signature gruesome graphics, noting the Saturn port faithfully retains the visual quality of the original PC Engine Quadrom version. This page previews 3 upcoming Sega Saturn games. First is Feather Remix, Emblem of Justice, a simulation RPG ported and enhanced from the Super Famicom version. It features tactical battles across 12 distinct areas, where players manage units, gather information, and recruit new characters. The game includes enhanced visuals and incorporates anime-style movies for significant story events, introducing a cast of unique characters like Brian and Erin. Next is Street Fighter II Movie, an interactive experience based on the animated film. This title lets players relive moments from the movie, incorporating footage and original animation materials, including character profiles and production art,
allowing fans to engage with the movie's world. Finally, the page looks at Gex, an action platformer ported from the 3D.
Players control Gex, a gecko navigating worlds based on different television genres. His abilities include a tail whip attack, and the ability to climb walls and ceilings, offering varied movement and environmental interaction across its diverse stages. This page features several upcoming Sega Saturn titles. First up is NFL Quarterback Club 96, a simulation of American football bringing real NFL players to the Saturn. It emphasizes realism and lets players develop their own custom athletes. Screenshots show on-field action and huddle views. Next is Revolution X, an arcade port based on the light gun shooter featuring Aerosmith. Players battle using weapons like machine guns, with the band's music being a key element as you fight enemies to rescue the members. RoboPit is a 3D fighting game, where players build and customize their own robots from various parts before taking them into arena battles. The goal is to climb the ranks from the bottom. Screenshots show different robot designs and explosive combat. For golf fans, there's World Cup Golf in Hyatt's Dorad Beach, a realistic golf simulation. It features detailed courses captured from real-world locations, offering various play modes from simulation rounds to practice swings. Cubic Gallery appears to be an art-focused software title. It takes painted images and allows players to interact with them, possibly adding 3D effects or animations, presenting famous artworks in new ways. Finally, 2 Mahjong games are previewed. Mahjong Hyperreaction AR includes attractive female characters who react based on the game's progress, featuring stripping elements. Tokimeki Mahjong Graffiti Angels Younger Than Me is a sequel to a previous title, promising smoother animation and a new cast of female characters, though details on their voice actors are mentioned as upcoming. This page dives into several unique and upcoming Sega Saturn titles. First up is Omikase's Exorcism Business, an adventure game featuring a trio of idol girls tasked with sealing away monsters using their special moves. The game involves photography and explores themes of exorcism and supernatural battles, with dynamic screenshots showing the girls in action and creepy monster reactions. Next, Kyan Kyan Bunny premieres highlighted, an adult adventure game originally from the PC. It promises a dating sim experience across 3 chapters, where the player interacts with 6 different girls encountered through part-time jobs. The screenshots feature anime-style character art. For horror fans, Horror Tour is previewed. This adventure game puts players in a spooky forest and ancient castle rendered in 3Ds, challenging them to escape while exploring for items and facing real-time monster encounters. The screenshots emphasize the dark atmosphere and terrifying creature designs. A major announcement comes from Koei with 7 secret mansions. This mystery adventure, revealed at a press conference, involves solving the puzzles within multiple eerie mansions filled with traps and strange inhabitants. Notable staff include composers Akira Senju and Kenji Kawai, hinting at a strong soundtrack. Screenshots reveal a mysterious 3D rendered antagonist and atmospheric indoor environments, with the story blending historical and surprising genre elements. Finally, the page provides a quick rundown of new title trends, touching on various upcoming releases and mentioning demo software available at stores, and a CrimeDraw magazine called Gameware, covering game information and digital content. This page features previews for 3 exciting titles. On the left, we see FIFA 96 Soccer for the Sega Saturn, promising realistic simulation with numerous teams and players. It boasts authentic gameplay modes and camera angles, aiming to capture the excitement of the real sport. Below that is Alone in the Dark 2, an action-adventure horror title continuing the story of Edward Carnby. This sequel features polygon characters, detailed environments, and a mix of exploration, puzzle-solving, and intense action with gunplay, set around a haunted mansion and pirate theme. The right page showcases DEF-CON 5, a simulation RPG set in a futuristic, metallic hand graphic. It highlights its genre and provides the scheduled release date and price, suggesting a strategic experience with real-time elements. This page is a 2-page spread featuring Sega Saturn games. On the left, it showcases Fist of the North Star, described as a fighting adventure game, highlighting its story mode, characters from the series, and combat using deadly techniques. It is currently on sale for 5,800 JPY. The right page advertises D, a full 3D horror adventure game that was a hit on PC. It promises a mysterious and fantastical world, and is set to release on March 22, 1996, priced at 5,800 JPY before tax. The imagery includes blood splatters and skulls, emphasizing the horror theme. This page presents a diverse lineup of Sega Saturn titles. On the left, we see the puzzle game Doron Enmakun, featuring the character Queen Marie, described as a hard, brutal, sexy dynamite big sister who believes dominating people is the greatest love. The game features a chain reaction falling block puzzle mechanic. A section recruiting game testers and the game's release details, January 26, 1996, for 5,800 JPY, are also shown, along with a Tecmo hotline number for information. The right page showcases 3D action and shooting titles. At the top is Gen War, an action game promising hypersuits conquering the solar system, and 3D action in a new territory. It highlights a cast of popular voice actors, and is set for a March 1996 release, at 5,800 JPY. Below, Black Fire and Chaos Control are advertised as exciting 3D shooting games, both described as now on sale and published by Virgin Interactive Entertainment. This page dives into simulation and sports genres on the Sega Saturn. On the left, Koei and Micronet team up for Gotha 2, a simulation game set on a floating continent. This sequel promises stunning graphics and an epic storyline, pushing the boundaries of the simulation genre with its free map, weapon upgrades, and a deep system where character actions influence growth and lead to multiple endings. You'll guide mechs and ships through strategic combat, brought to life by a talented cast of voice actors. This looks like a deep strategic experience coming soon to the platform. The right side hooks us with Hiroki Matsukata's World Fishing from Media Quest. Combining both bass fishing and trolling, this is a realistic fishing simulation, featuring abundant overseas locations rendered with impressive CG visuals. It's more than just casting. You'll need wisdom, strategy, and patience to understand fish behavior and reel in monsters that can take significant time to land. The game includes training modes and challenging tournaments, all supervised by the Japan Game Fish Association for authenticity. If you're looking for a deep, realistic fishing experience, this one is out now. There's even a chance to win some cool gear in their release campaign. This page presents two distinct offerings. On the left is S. Kiwamesu, a professional mahjong game for the Sega Saturn, endorsed by major Japanese mahjong associations. It features real professional players, whose likenesses are shown, challenging you to master mahjong through various modes, including free play, analysis, challenge matches against pros, and even quizzes about strategy. The game boasts realistic graphics and sound, aiming to immerse you in the intensity of competitive mahjong play, with lifelike visuals and voice samples of the pros. It's positioned as the definitive way to experience high-level mahjong on the Saturn. The right side shifts focus entirely to development, showcasing the Teburo Starter Kit Assembler Edition. This is a comprehensive programming package designed for creating software on PC Engine/Super C-DROM Squared and PC98/MSX computers. It includes a substantial 310-page book filled with technical information previously unreleased, a CLI-DROM packed with software tools and sample programs, and a 3.5-inch floppy disk. It covers a wide development system, from MSX up to Pentium machines, providing the resources needed to dive into game and software creation for these platforms. There are order forms included for the kit, and an associated hardware interface called the Teburo Box. This page features a comprehensive release calendar detailing upcoming games for Sega Saturn, Mega Drive, and Game Gear. The Sega Saturn section covers releases from January through the end of 1996, listing a variety of titles including fighting games like Street Fighter Alpha and Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series, RPGs like Guardian Heroes and Sakura Wars, and ports of titles such as Daytona USA, Virtua Cop, and Zork Eyes. It also lists many Japan-only titles and future tentative releases. The Mega Drive and Mega CD calendar is shorter, listing releases like Shadowrun and Madu Monogatari I. The Game Gear list includes Baku Baku Animal and Virtua Fighter Mini. The page also includes a brief editor's note reflecting on the past year and the competitive landscape between the Saturn and PlayStation, and announces the release date for the next issue of the magazine. This page is a striking advertisement for the Sega Saturn game G-Bockers,
a hyper 3D fighting battle and action shooting title developed by Riverhillsoft. The ad features two individuals wrapped in bandages, seemingly hospitalized, engrossed in playing the game on monitors placed by their beds, highlighting its potentially addictive nature. The text promotes the game's intense 3D combat across 8 distinct fields, emphasizing the strategic depth and command-based attacks. Gearbox supports competitive play with the Sega Saturn vs. Cable. The game was released on February 23, 1996, for 5,800 yen plus tax. A limited edition bundle, including the Versus Cable, was also available at launch. There was a pre-order campaign offering special Hisatsu Gebotora original trunks as a bonus gift. The bottom of the page showcases the game's unique and quirky character designs.